discoveries every time when I color outside the line. Colors of you. Hey yo, the world is my coloring book. Look, new discoveries every time when I color outside the line. Color of you.
Peace, family.
My self-expression.
It's your boy, Gerald.
My self-reflection make the light change.
Grounding myself, starting my day.
Starts bringing me down as the depravity and gravity having me in my blue phase.
Overcast skies. The sun is breaking out. And I'm taking it all in. It is Saturday, the 25th of January 2020. How is everybody doing? And as I pulled up, as I always do, I always put affirmations out, allowing my foundation to be fortified for the day of the things I do not know and do not see. I ask for protection. And in the process, I also give thanks, as prayers must go up, so blessings must come down. And as I was opening myself up for guidance, the first thing that crossed my mind, because we only use 6% of our beautiful brain, 6%. The song done by The Doors, Break On Through, and it made me think. If we want our dreams to become our reality, we must be receptive and open to change. And 2020, as you've heard echo from the intended heart, intended mind, found everywhere. It's echoed. The sentiment is being conveyed. And the intended person will receive it when it's time, And it made me wonder. I said, how bad do you want it? Because if you really want it bad enough, whatever that is resonating inside you, you've got to break through. So what is it that you're going to break through? Your insecurities, your fears, your blocks, and anything that makes you feel less than. So how do you break through? First thing is you acknowledge you exist. Because the one thing that man will never be able to master, but will have no choice but to respect, is time. Yes. Because see, that is the greatest gift that can be bestowed to any mortal. Time. But what is time not respected? It's an opportunity squandered. It's a revelation not received. Or possibly a challenge brought up for review. Because that's how we understand measurement. That's why those things that no matter how you try to distract, or you try to, in other words, hide, they are still milestones of growth that must first be acknowledged for your development. So you may be thinking, well, Gerald, I hear what you're saying. You're on this holistic vibe. But actually, it's interpretation. And I have no choice but to convey to the intended heart and mind that you will break through. Because if you don't break through, you will break down. It's kind of like having a deep wound and you allow time to allow the skin to heal itself. You may even try to medicate to patch up the wound, hoping that in proper time it will become strong. But we also know sometimes what is found on the outside does not resonate with what is found within. Who am I talking to? That is why no matter what the doctrine that you interpret for your guidance, it's all allegory. It all means the same. There's always symbology because it's based off of interpretation conveyed to the receiver at the intended time. But it matters not until you're willing to embrace it. Maybe that is why some of you have restless nights. Maybe that is why no matter what you try to do, you cannot feel that refreshment needed within your core. Because that one thing, whatever it may be, it is demanding you to take note, to account for it. Because on the other side, your proverbial chapter will be made new. A new chapter, fam, anew. You will be made whole, made new. But for every milestone that we choose to embrace, there is a sacrifice that defines the measurement. Who am I talking to? So what I'm saying is, you can't live over your shoulder. You can't live in your past. You must acknowledge what you stand on in the now. In the now. Because what's over your shoulder is the living definition of your wisdom. It is those examples that are your insights. It is what will propel you where you're intended. Now, not to sound stark or crass, I'm not. You do understand that those blessings were already fortified the moment you took your first breath. That was the contract that you signed to be on this earthly realm. So with that being said, you do also understand from a literal sense, it's just like an assignment. Once the assignment has been embraced and completed, you're moved to the next level. You can look at that from an economic stance too, because think about every financial opportunity, job versus career, which for a lot of you, you'll come to understand it really was the setup of your purpose. And I had mentioned this a long time ago. I said, if you wanted to know your reality, look at those people who have access to it. Because they are a living manifestation of your mental state. They are. So if there is calamity or drama going on, why does it not resonate to what's found here? Or what is contradicted here? Come on now. 2020 is about break and release. Some of y'all have been waiting on this for a long time. A long time. Like the proverbial saying, you've been waiting for your ships to come in, because you know on that ship, your blessings, your chapter, your new endeavors are waiting. And you've been patient. You've had to go through a season of experience, of examples, just to break off the rough edges. Who am I talking to? But what you did not know is, indirectly within yourself, there was a wicking away effect of all the things that were made up by your doubts, your fears, your contradictions, and you had to work through them to find your true voice, to find your empowerment, to find your foundation. Why? Because you're blessed. Now, the sad reality is this. Some of you have spent quite a long time trying to answer the question of, what does love look like? What does security feel like? And you've saw narratives of what's been put out there socially, may it be organized through propaganda, the media, whatever it may be. But it was constructed and tailor-made to get and gain your attention. Who am I talking to? But the moment that you decided to sort and seek, you were able to see through it, see underneath it, maybe to actually be able to see the agenda of why. You realize how many people that you've given examples, they prefer that you stay the same, because they know the moment that you realize that everything that you have experienced was the setup of what's going to propel you for the other half of your life, they can't afford that. Because the reality is, then you will see that where you are compared to where they are two obsolete positions, two different directions. And maybe that's what has kept you loyal. Maybe that is what has kept you not acknowledging what's present. I'm trying real hard. I'm trying so hard to pick my words, because I understand some of you are very sensitive right now. Oh yes. Oh yes. So much to the point which I don't understand. This is a caveat. What is it that I've always conveyed almost 7 years? 7. I said, if you got any questions or concerns, I ain't hard to find. Inbox me. And I will try my best, with all respect, to respond, to give you clarity of my position, my opinion. Because look, we don't have to agree. But what we can agree upon is this: you deserve to have the best life ever, correct? You deserve to feel whole, right? And you deserve to allow the world to see the greatest gift ever bestowed from you. And that's your smile. Yes, that beautiful smile. You're not on this planet to suffer. I know your environment may have convinced you that No, you're just here to toe the line, to be the anchor. And if you don't invest in it, it will fall apart. Or maybe you were the caveat of it all, and you are the example that there is something else. But guess what? We're talking free will, right? Because one thing we cannot do is make anybody do anything they don't want to do. Yeah, I mean, come on now. We live in an era where commercially we want to acknowledge mental illness, right? We want to, because it makes money now. I spoke about this 7 years ago. Now, because people have found an outlet and a way to financially gain off of other people's pain. You know, like breadcrumbs will give you certain information, but they won't give you the guidance on what's true. Because at the end of the day, they can't. At the end of the day, they also know that the solution is we all have to acknowledge what is broken. And when we finally have the strength to acknowledge what is broken, that gives us the opportunity to do the work. Because that's change. And guess what? You don't need permission to change you. That is something that is intimate. You know, intimacy. Into me, I see. Do you like what you see within yourself? If you feel a certain kind of way because you don't like the word love, or you have a hard time saying I love me, it's because there's something blocking you from conveying that to yourself that has convinced you to such a point that it has allowed you to find insecurity. Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? 2020 is, family, this is that year that proverbial spiritual line is drawn. And because it's free will, you're going to have to decide what is what is a want compared to what is a need. And whatever that position is, you will find out that is what is going to fortify your voice. Maybe that's why some of you think that the illusion of turning up your voice is all that is needed to control the situation, but in actuality what it does is hit the mute button with your environment, because they ain't trying to hear you. They don't take you serious because they know this is temporary. Your life is not temporary. Your life is forever. And you deserve to be happy. I'm telling you, family, I know that what I'm going to show you is going to blow your mind, because you want to manifest your reality to what you dream about. You gotta stop being afraid of yourself. Stop being afraid. Go within yourself, and everything that was lost will be resonated and brought back into review for you to actually properly either claim or dispel. But you can't do that until you have that relationship with yourself. You want to know what love feels like? Start loving on you. You want to feel secure? Speak your truth and stand on it. Now, I'm going to tell you what, the moment that you decide to make that affirmation your direction, guess what's going to happen? You're going to shake up your environment. You're going to shake it up big time. Oh, yeah. It may come subtle. Oh, they're going to feel it, though. Everybody in your environment is going to feel it. They're going to notice it, because there's going to be something about you that is going to resonate so, which is your spirit. It's going to resonate. It's going to resonate to an octave so strong that it's only going to attract those who have that same octave. And anybody that does not, they won't be able to be around you. And you'll notice that too, because they'll start being short around you. Their attitude, it'll be like the proverbial spiritual mask comes off. It breaks. It's going to break because God has something better for you. And he's so happy that you're claiming it. I know some of you are saying, well, Gerald, all I care about is my relationship. Well, you want to define your relationship? You want it to be healed? It starts with yourself. And once that is healed, everything connected to you will be aligned. Even if it means removal. You'll see. Because I'm going to show you how God does. And you got to be all in it too. He doesn't want... Look, as the passage has always said, lead by faith, not by sight. Some of you are going to understand that. And you're going to change the trajectory of your trust level too, because you're going to get to a point where you're going to find comfort in your discomfort to the level that you're going to be like, well, Lord, it's your way or no way. And that's what he's waiting on. That's what he's waiting on. And when he knows that you are truly all in, then he's going to reveal what's on the other side of that. And you should be happy. You should be happy. So, I would be remiss not to say this again. You have one life. It is priceless. And until you claim it, you are being robbed of it. With all its potential that is entitled to it. And you know this. That's the thing. You know this. You already know. Your life is not meant to be putting spiritual band-aids on everything because you think that, well, if I use this strategy to navigate my day, it'll keep confusion down. You know why we have confusion? Because we don't claim it. We don't claim what we need. We are afraid to speak it. And guess what? Isn't that what manifestation is? That's why you hear people say, be careful what you say, you just might get it. Because anything that falls from the mouth, you can't retract it. You spoke it into existence. So if you want to speak it so much, how about speaking, I love me. I love my life. I love my future that the Most High is going to bless me with. And guess what's going to happen? Everything that was false will break. It has to. Two frequencies not the same will repel themselves. So anything that is built off of deception, they can't get access to you. And they know it. And they're more frustrated too, because until I'm going to be subtle about this, because you have just as many people that embrace the lower vibration of the day star. You know them as Satan, Lucifer, and such like. You know that. And it's comfortable for them to align themselves in that route. But just as it was said and it was written, the suffrage will continue until you are able to bow down and acknowledge that there is only one true God. Until you're willing to acknowledge that there is something greater than your understanding. Keep in mind, we only use 6% of our brain. That's why we're transitioning into a 5D realm. That is why when Moses went to the mountaintop of Sinai and God afforded him the opportunity to acknowledge his existence, he told them, do not look upon me. And what did Moses have to do? He had a veil over his face. And he looked away. Why? Because what the Most High had, it would have destroyed him, first of all, because he's mortal. And number two, it's so deep that you couldn't even fathom. It would destroy your mental. You know what I'm saying? Think of it like this. That's like somebody taking a sonic vibration machine, right? You know, because think of anything with high pitches stuff, and you aim that force to like something fragile, like I'll use an example, an earthworm or an ant, something, you know. You got all that energy coming down, it would indirectly destroy it. And he knows that. So he uses spiritual breadcrumbs. He uses whatever he has to do to send the message, I love you that much, that I want you to know you deserve better. Who am I talking to? So some of you who have been following me through the years, you've noticed that it's amazing because, you know, I'm convinced about my son, and you know, I know there's a lot of people like, oh man, you crazy. No, the one thing I realize, and any person that's a parent, think about the moment you looked upon your child and that feeling that you had come from your spirit when you looked upon them, and that bond that was there. It has no words, but you knew. You knew. Well, I ain't got to worry about that because I felt that same thing with my firstborn, you know, proverbially. And when I looked upon him, even though he's a grown-up now, I'm not worried about time lost because I know that everything is divinely orchestrated, and in the time, in the correct time, you will be made one. I know that. All I have to do is prepare. You said, well, who is this guy? He's a YouTuber. He is. And you're probably like, well, come on. His name is Alex McQueen. And watch. When you go on this YouTube channel, just look at him. Look at his face. And tell me if you don't see me in it. I know. But you know what's so amazing is because all the intricacies of how and all that, those are slowly but surely being revealed as God wanted it to. Because like I said 3 weeks ago, I didn't even know it existed. Didn't. But here's the beautiful thing about it. Even I can go back to when I was 16 years old. 16. And the one thing I remember dreaming about is like, you know, if I ever become a father one day, you know, I hope I'm prepared, and I hope I'm afforded the right to have a son. One, because of the wisdom of my experiences, so he wouldn't make the mistakes. Well, I don't want to say mistakes, but he wouldn't have to travel the path of choice. That's what insight, wisdom, which equals legacy, is all about. And yeah, go to his channel. He does parodies and stuff like that. And I've done everything I need to do from my point of view. I've reached out, and I know right now he's probably like, who is this guy? Is this guy crazy? Nope. Nope. Because for starters, number one, not to sound insensitive, but you don't see grown-ass men running around claiming other people's kids. They don't. We just don't. Now, if it's a scenario of a pre-existing relationship and there are children involved, that man will take the covenant, because it's a covenant, of the responsibility of them, because he's claiming them. And that's why God will bring people into your life for a reason or a season. One is to empower you, and number two is so that you can get to the path that you were intended all along. Now, I say this too, because what's so amazing is I say this with all sensitivity and humility and respect. See, if I knew that I had a child, I knew, I had a child that was mine, being born, there would have been nothing that would have kept me from not trying to be in that child's development in some fashion form. Now, I say that because what is so amazing is I never had a child. I never had a son. Never. In my logic, my firstborn was my daughter, Brianna. But then I'm going to edit this and add it to the other one. And I'm going to bring this home. If I knew what I knew 26 years ago, that would have impacted the trajectory of my life. Would have easily. Because those decisions would have had an impact on what my direction was going to be. Which means there would have been a possibility that I would have never been here now. I would have never been blessed to have my daughter. I would have never married her mother. And, the domino effect, the spiritual domino effect. So, what I'm trying to say is, as the saying goes, what's done in the dark comes to the light. That's how your life will play out. Everything comes full circle until it is concluded. So kicker is being prepared. And you can't be prepared until you claim. And until you're willing to claim it, sometimes life is, you're like an airplane in a holding pattern. You are just going on the loop, like a record player with a record that's constantly playing, but it's just spinning. Sooner or later, you got to change the needle. Sometimes you got to flip the record over to hear what needs to be conveyed. But at the end of the day, it's all beautiful, because what we're talking about is your story. So from me to you, if you're in a place where you think life as you know it is going to be the end story, I'm here to tell you, the devil's a liar. He wants nothing more for you to stay broken, to stay distracted, to keep the influences that have no right to be there. You may know them as spiritual shackles. You may know them as generational curses. But that's okay. Because you will be the master of your destiny the more you invest in you. So love yourself, family, and watch what 2020 shows you, family. Now, and on the backside, you have to come to terms with this. Some of you are going to have to let go, let God, and say goodbye. And some of that will be done without your permission, because you're going to be like, it was all good yesterday. Where are they? And just as quick as they came in your life, just as quick as they'll disappear, because that connection has been severed spiritually. That is what a soul tie is all about, not a soulmate. And I know y'all on this soulmate, soul tie. Let me tell you something. A true soulmate is the example of love that you possess, just manifested physically. And keep this in mind too. The soulmate wants you to win, even if they don't have the opportunity to see you claim the prize, and you are the prize. That's okay, because they were in your life for that moment, so that you could preferably get it, not get got. Not get got now, to get it, to understand it. And it may be just to plant those examples, and once they've been planted and you're in that space mentally where you're reflecting on where you've been compared to where you are, and then that's when it proverbially clicks, like, that's what she was trying to tell me, that's what he was trying to show me, that's what I needed to do. And that's okay, because now you're ready to embrace it. You're ready to use that tool in your toolbox to unlock the other side of your life, because it was already written and you're intended to win. So from me to you, family, I've said a lot. I hope you are well. And please enjoy this weekend. Make sure that you allow yourself proper time to rest, reflect, rebuild, but most importantly, stay being you. Because nobody wins imitating somebody else. Why? That's the greatest lie ever told. Imitation is flattery. No, that's not a life that's claimed. That's okay. But we walk around with a bunch of mimics out here too. You know? But you're going to be alright, because you're a winner. And you're blessed. So from me to you, I send love, peace, and blessings. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And for that, it helps me discern mine. That's right. You better discern. Because the more you discern, the more your angels are there to protect you from the things you can't see and the things you do not know. Be blessed.